Now, I met our next guest as we were both meant to be sharing the stage together at an event I was so looking forward to in May in Christchurch. It was titled Entrepreneurial Woman with Purpose. I like to say me to a T a little bit. The founder, Catherine van der Meulen, pivoted from a live event into creating a new online business community around raw, long, honest business advice into a podcast format. And that's where Flora, she discovered my business journey and I discovered hers, because she was, of course, meant to be on that stage. And I was absolutely blown away about when I had to catch up with Flora, how much she's achieved from her Lincoln days, which wasn't actually that long ago, following her mother's passion for gardening and her passion for teaching, establishing Flora in Amberley in North Canterbury. And Flora joins us now for some key messaging on storytelling and bringing rural and urban communities together. Flora, thank you so much for coming on to Sarah's Country tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I just wanted to start. I just mentioned there about your journey from Lincoln to Flora. Am I right in picking you're at the ripe age of 24, 23?
23, yeah, just turned 23. I had my birthday in lockdown, which was a bit sad. But
Oh, well, happy birthday from everyone watching, Flora. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your business journey. So I just want your motivation. You went to Lincoln, but you're not from a farming background. And tell us that journey from there through to, of course, launching Flora Grow Kits.
Yeah, so there was the change in, government was happening, and there was a bit of heat being thrown at the agricultural industry, as you know very well, Sarah. And in that time, I was sort of thinking, what is the future of farming, and especially for a female, coming into the industry just fresh out of uni. So I decided to do a diploma in teaching. And I did my diploma in teaching, which was a year. And then, and I've been teaching since then, which has been the last year and a bit now. So, and the whole education thing is a big part of my purpose and what sort of drives me with my wee business. And then I'm teaching agribusiness and agri-science in Christchurch. So that enabled me to sort of have that education channel. And then I thought, I want to do this in my own time sort of thing. So I started my wee business with my wee grow kits to get people growing their own plants. Yeah.
It's fantastic. And how have you, just going back to your agri education path that you're on, taking your learnings from Lincoln and bringing it to high school students, how hard is that to get them at that age, that niggly age, and then teenagers, and they sort of think they already know everything as opposed to younger kids?
Yeah, I don't think it's that they sort of think they know everything. They think they know everything, but that's cool. It's tough, but I think they appreciate that I've had real world experience and that it wasn't that long ago. Some of them, like I remember at school and having some ancient teachers, and it was quite hard to connect with them because their industry experience or whatever was some time ago. So it's really cool that I can give them those examples and that networking for them, especially my senior students. I don't know if they appreciate it that much yet. It's hard to tell because, they're teenagers. But I think in a couple of years, they might look back and go, oh, that was really, Miss Brons was really handy for that. She gave me that connection or whatever. So, it's a bit of a mission, but I think when you start teaching, I'm going to change the world, this is me. And then you realize when you get there, okay,
I think everybody in their early 20s thinks we're going to change the world for it, to be honest. Hey, now talking about that though, your entrepreneurial spirit, I went home and after our chat and I said, Ellie, do you know a girl called Flora? And she said, oh yeah, Flora's a legend. She was into everything at Lincoln. She was such a go-getter. How much of that was just your hunger to work out your place in the ag industry and that challenge probably as a woman to work out how we can be a part of it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I tried to keep a really open mind when I was at uni, and it was hard. I have a semi-rural background, being raised out this way, but it was hard not coming straight off a farm and then coming to this Lincoln farming dominated place. But keeping an open mind was sort of the key thing for me, and just trying a little bit of everything. And I loved that about my degree. I was able to do marketing and management and plant science, animal science, forestry, all sorts of different things. And I think especially for young people going into the industry or going to uni, they sort of think, oh, this is what I'm going to do and that's it, And I think that mindset can be a bit crippling for people, because then they sort of like get to a point where they think, oh, this isn't for me, and then they feel bad about it. So yeah, just a bit of trialing everything, I thought was my best way to learn.
Good on you.
Yeah.
So we talked about in the intro your mother's passion for gardening, and we share that absolutely. Our mother is extremely passionate about gardening. Did a horticulture degree in Cromwell as well, and knows every Latin name of everything. So I'm sure we're probably on the same page. But you've taken your mum's passion and turned it into a very flourishing business called Flora.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I have my mum and supporting me and giving me advice, because the thing is, although I'm, getting people on their journey of growing their own plants and things like that, I'm still a beginner myself. Well, I wouldn't say a beginner, but, I'm still, like you said, making mistakes. I still will kill a plant and just be like, oh, shit, like, how did I do that? That's part of it. And I think that's the cool thing with gardening. You learn so many different skills. And I was thinking before about the really cool thing about gardening. And at the moment, all these people that are growing their own things, it's sort of teaching them and connecting them with our food growers in New Zealand in the way that that patience and empathy are skills you sort of learn, because you think, oh my gosh, when I just go and grab that cucumber off the shelf, that's blooming hard work to grow that, and I think that's quite exciting. Sort of that empathy for our New Zealand food growers and the hard work that they go through.
I think I might actually see if I can offer double the amount of money for my broccoli at New World, because I've really appreciated how hard it is, or I'm just not on the right track with that at all. But that wasn't it interesting though, Flora? I mean, there was a seed shortage before there was a flower shortage. With the lockdown.
Was that? Do you mean for like
plantings and seedlings sold out dramatically in that Tuesday prior, and before flower did? I mean, we obviously as a nation understand where our food comes from.
Yes. There was a wee bit of an issue there, though. A lot of people sort of did the classic panic buy and were buying like watermelon seeds and cucumber seeds and sweet corn. And it's like, hang on a minute. We can't grow them at this time of year, but that's all learning. I mean, I know King seeds and Egmont seeds during about halfway through lockdown actually had to close their business for a few days, or close orders and just catch up. The orders were just through the roof.
A bit of calm the farm. So in terms of the grow kits, can you tell us sort of the interaction that you have at the farmers markets, and you, of course, you're building your online business as well, and how that has really shaped a community around support to people to grow food and understand it?
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing, is the community that I feel that our wee business is built. It's crazy, you know too, Sarah, the power of social media, and the community that we've built is so cool. And I just love going to those markets and taking that time, and then speaking to people, and then they go, oh, like, and it's just such a great moment when you can teach them about something. So, like, we've got our wee bee hotels as well, that my boyfriend helps me build. He's a builder, so he does most of the work there. But, it's such a cool way to educate people with my products. And, I just love those conversations and inspiring people. And I'm very passionate about my wee business. And I think that passion is quite contagious for a lot of people when I meet them at the markets and things. And then they're like, oh, I want to have a crack at that. And that's
Can you tell us about the bee hotels? Because I'm really excited about this.
Yeah.
The old man has got 3 new hives, and he's just
Oh.
cannot believe the amount of honey that they're getting out of it. But it can actually be in a smaller way, right? That we can all have our own bees and nurture our bee population, which is, of course, our world population.
Yeah. It's a pretty low maintenance way to have your own bees, because it's actually a bee hotel is actually for the solitary bees, which a lot of New Zealand native bees are solitary. So it actually means they don't live in a hive and they don't produce honey. But they are very important pollinators, and I think people sort of underestimate the power of a bee. But so many of our fruit and vegetables in our country require pollination by bees, mainly honeybees. With people that have an apiary, is it apiary, I think, and they take them and move them around to different orchards and market gardens and things like that to pollinate those crops. But the solitary bees, they lay their larvae inside the holes of the bee hotel, and that is where they pack it up with mud or whatever they can find, and then their larvae hatch and fly out. So that they don't live together. That's just a process. That's just their life cycle. So it gives them a safe place to live, which is quite cool, because their homes are sort of on the decline.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a halfway house, you'd say, for them to stop over.
Yeah. That's why we call it the bee hotel. They can just stop over, breed, or shelter there. And you just sit them up in a tree or up on a fence facing north, the best you can, and so they're not getting hit by the southerly winds and things.
Yeah, absolutely. Flora, just before we go, we have Minister Shane Jones on next. In terms of the government in general and what you'd like to see in terms of investment in agricultural education in this country.
Yeah. So I think into the lower decile schools would be really cool, and the education around food growing, budgeting, understanding the jobs in the primary industry. And I think there's so many out there that people don't even know about, and sort of trying to bridge that gap between urban and rural. The urban and rural divide. So educating people in urban schools and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel that you've got a long career ahead of you. You're a very passionate young woman. Thank you so much. That's Flora Brons taking the time to join us on Sarah's Country. Go on to Instagram and check out Flora, Flora, and follow her on Instagram. And she's doing some great work.
This is Sarah's Country.